Kokilin, a lot of our clients, a lot of our prospects are asking, what are the sorts of things that we're doing right now insofar as helping people in need is concerned? We know that right now it's not business as usual, and we're not, in the market looking for, opportunities where tire kickers are out and about looking at 10 or 15 properties like may have been the case before COVID. Now, our office is really streamlining and helping people that have sold a home and subsequently need to purchase a home, otherwise they can be homeless, or vice versa. Now, you're one of the agents that has been a great proponent for change in our office, and we've been able to see some incredible insights that you've been able to bring to the table to help people safely get through the properties. Can you talk about the three different approaches that you've implemented to this whole thing right now? How are things working out on your end?
Of course. So just like how you said, whoever is in the market right now needs to be in the market. And obviously us at Remax Metropolis were able to help and assist during this tough time. So it really comes down to what type of buyer it is. So the first step and the most safe step is to see through the listings online, either through phone or through Zoom, to go through each of the properties that the client's interested in and go through the pictures and go through the virtual tours that are available or 3D tours that are available. Number two is pricing. Say, for example, they have a strict pricing. I do my due diligence as well to see if this is something that they could qualify for or they're okay with in terms of comparable. So we're not looking at say a property is listed for 500,000. If it's going to go for 800,000 and that's not something they want, we can scratch those ones down and narrow it down to the properties that they actually want. Number two, if with their permission, of course, just me alone as a buyer agent could book the showings and go in myself with obviously protective mask and gloves. And I could either call them on WhatsApp or Skype and go through the property or even record it if they're not available. And I do that for actually quite a few of my personal listings as well. Just record a video so we can send it to them firsthand. That way they can see if, is this something worth going in person or not. Number three is, again, with real estate, I feel like it is something you want to see. You want to be there, especially for the price that you're paying for the unit. With where I have been able to set up showings with me and maximum of two other buyers. I try to do one, but sometimes it has to be two other buyers. Where we obviously confirm, with the office, and just like our office too, we have our COVID disclosures where we confirm with the buyer and the buying agent that we haven't traveled within 14 days, we haven't come into contact with anyone with COVID, and we're going to use the proper equipment when navigating throughout the property and not touching any surfaces and lights and doors and etc. So in that case, it will be me and the two other buyers again with protection. And while maintaining social distancing, we go throughout the property, have a quick peek, and once we come out, we either get in our cars and talk on the phone, or we wait till we get home and speak as well. And another thing I try to do as well is to try to arrive at the property about a few minutes earlier. So that way it's only me touching the lights or opening the doors if that's not set up by the seller or the listing agent.
That's incredible insight. So to kind of summarize then for the audience out there, we've been able to facilitate online transactions, right? And a lot of people think that, it's impossible or improbable, but the factual reality is that the whole idea behind a virtual transaction is that all of the people that don't need to be in the home, save and except for example, a home inspector, even appraisals are being done online now. We're seeing, I had an appraisal that was scheduled today, and the appraiser basically said, send me photos of the kitchen, send me photos of this, and they're doing these soft appraisals online. So the virtual transaction, from end to end, it can be virtual, and even most lawyers now are doing curbside signings. So I know, for example, our law office, we're doing drive-by signings, or we're very careful with how we do all of these things so that we're complying with the law while at the same time protecting the interests of the parties. And, a lot of people say, well, Ricky, how can a buyer make a $1 million or multi-million-dollar purchase in a marketplace like this, sight unseen? And my response generally has been that, well, the pre-construction market is just that, right? Anybody that's bought pre-construction, sometimes you'll have a designer suite that you can walk through, but more often than not, the end product may vary from the actual product. At least here, you've got tangible 3D tours. You can actually have a walkthrough if you're using the PPE and those sorts of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've recently experienced a lot of I want to say flack from certain parties in the profession because we've got PPE equipment kits that we've been able to supply to our agents' clients. So it's basically a showing kit that has gloves, a mask, booties, and sanitization. And we've had people, call us out and say, hey, these supplies are much needed in the hospitals. But the frank reality is they're not N95 masks. Hospitals are adequately stocked now. And this PPE, I mean, the hand part's cool, but the face mask, it's not going to protect you. The main thing is trying to prevent. And the whole idea in my mind is that we're trying to prevent people from talking inside of the home.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're seeing with agents like you that are really at the forefront of this change right now is you guys are going in, there's very strict instructions. There's no kids, none of that. It's decision makers only. They've got the mask, they've got the gloves. Most good listing offices will instruct the sellers to keep all the lights on and all the interior doors open. So you're literally walking through the property and out so that there's minimum exposure. And even before COVID, we never wanted clients to be talking in the home because you could be recorded. So now more than ever, we're seeing some of those things magnified. And I'm sure you're finding that, which is why I want to kind of do this and explain how these things are working. So virtual transactions are happening. The
Yes.
next thing, the best thing to a virtual transaction is you as an agent with all your gear, you're walking through the property, not talking, properly equipped with your phone, and you're basically showcasing the whole home entirely online. So your clients are at home, self-isolating and not exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they like that property, first and foremost, the shortlisting aspect is very critical now because again, we're not showing 15, 20 properties. Now it's, okay, this is what your approval looks like. This is what the comps look like. There's 20 good properties. We've shortlisted it to 5. So even you as an agent, you're not on this huge escapade where you're going through different properties. You're, if required, going through 5 properties, and that's only if the seller can't accommodate an online showing for you, right? Mm-hmm. Our office and many offices like ours that are ultra premium have 3D virtual renderings and doll houses and tours where if you've got the virtual goggles, you can immersively view the property. If you don't have that, you can do a pretty good job on your phone or computer as well. Mm-hmm. And then the third one is where you're taking in the actual client, as I'm understanding what you're saying. And again, with the client going in, the instructions are very clear. Nobody's touching anything. There's no talking in the home. It's literally in, out, and then you talk from the car if you're engaging one another that way. Does that sound about right?
Nail on, exactly
Right.
what I was saying. And like virtual transactions do happen, and I personally did one as well last month. And with the client, the pictures, and they didn't have a virtual tour or pictures handy, but we were able to navigate through the pictures. We put in offer conditional on us going to see it and being okay. We went in the next day, saw it, everything was good, waived off the conditions, and the deal was done. So it is happening.
Fantastic. Are you finding that the majority of your properties that you're either listing right now, because you and Paper Planes Group are listing quite a lot of properties right now. You guys are doing very well in this changing marketplace. And that's obviously because of the professionalism you guys bring to the table. You guys are at the forefront of the change with our office. Are you finding that vacant properties are easier to accommodate? Are you finding that owners are thinking, okay, I've got a cottage home, I'm just going to move out from my home for the next 3 to 4 weeks while Coquelet and his team advertise my property so that there's no exposure. And then that way, before we leave, we have it sanitized. And when we come back, before we come back, we have it sanitized. Are you finding that that's a trend where it's feasible for some people?
I feel like with a vacant property, it provides a little bit of peace of mind, right? Where obviously no one's home, you're not going to be actively living there, and you're not going to have any troubles with the showings. But whether it is vacant or whether it is being occupied by the owner, we always record a video just to have it on hand, just in case someone messages or someone calls in. Here's a video, have a look, show it to your client, see if you're really interested before you book a showing. That right away cuts off half the people who might be tire kickers or might not be serious. With residents in there, the 3D virtual tours. Again, when someone books it, make sure you look through the pictures, make sure you look through the 3D virtual tours before you book a showing. again, the people who are not serious could be crossed out then. But yeah, vacant does provide a little bit of peace of mind, but sometimes if a owner has to live at home, the best thing we can do is a 3D virtual tour. And number two, we can provide maybe 12 hours or maybe 24 hours notice, just so they can maybe clean up a bit and prepare to be out of the property. And once they come in, they could set up some time aside to sanitize the property before the kids and everyone come back in.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think, I guess my closing remarks at this point is that, no, it's not business as usual. We're not, doing open houses. It's still illegal to do that. But people have taken the technology to do really creative things like online open houses, which is really great to see, especially with your group in our office. But what we're finding as an office right now, based on the listings and the activity we're seeing, a lot of people see us as putting up impediments like the COVID health check forms and, check the virtual tours online. But really what we're doing is we're trying to do our job and protect everybody involved, because the client or the prospect's health is at the forefront of all of our decision making at this time, because that's of the most importance to everybody. We've seen situations with other offices in my capacity as a lawyer where, the seller has passed on because of COVID, and now the closing is coming up and buyers freaking out because the property was potentially contaminated with COVID. So we've seen some very interesting things. And I mean, you guys need to keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job, and I know you're very busy. Do you have any closing remarks, or have we kind of covered everything at this point? Is there anything else you would want to give the consumers to take away at this point?
I think my closing remarks is, if you are a buyer or seller, especially on the buying end, especially with first-time buyers, that it's a pretty big segment that me and my team work with. I see this as an opportunity, and I feel like there's so much distraction, so much articles, so much this, so much that if you're buying real estate for the right reasons, you're never going to lose, right? And no one has ever paid too much money for the right home.
That's right. So you're a big advocate for ownership over rental then?
Oh, for sure, hands down.
Very good. Well, thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you've got tons of showings and other things lined up virtually. How can people reach out to you?
You can reach out to me by phone, 647-282-9706, or through Instagram at Coquelin_real estate, or at paperplanesgroup.com.
Thanks so much. We'll see you again next time. Keep safe.
See ya.
Bye for now.